Chapter 3: Analyzing a company's external environment. The nature of an external audit. The purpose of an external audit is to develop a measurable list of opportunities that could benefit the firm and avoid threats. Key external forces. External forces can be divided into five broad categories. Economic forces. A company's impact on the current economic climate must be evaluated by an auditor. For instance, if the economy is in a downturn, a decrease in a company's growth may be acceptable. To determine whether the company report has considered this external factor, the auditor might want to examine the balance sheet and the other financial supporting documents. Social and cultural forces. The way of life an organization works in can influence it. For instance, the tobacco business has encountered a change in mentalities towards smoking more than quite a few years. A reviewer ought to verify whether the organization has calculated friendly changes in its evaluations. Political, governmental, and legal forces. The auditor may discover that one of the company's largest sources of income may come from a region subject to more strict legal restrictions. The revenues of that business may suffer as a result of this in the future. On the other hand, a company operating in a sector that is going through a period of significant growth may be in a strong position. Based on the legal environment, the company must make realistic projections according to the auditor's position. Technological forces. Numerous businesses were entangled in the transition from analog to digital products. Film organizations quit making a film and moved into computerized imaging. A reviewer can consider changes in innovation while assessing an organization. Projections of sales and revenue may be based on a technology that is changing or being phased out. The auditor would be aware that a company's expenditures and outlook must take this evolving technology into account. Competitive force. A crucial component of the external audit because it assists in our organization in determining the strengths, weaknesses, capabilities, opportunities, threats, objections, and strategic of our competitors. External trends and events significantly affect all products, services, markets, and organizations in the world. Changes in external forces translate into changes in consumer demand for both industrial and consumer products and services. The process of performing an external audit. The process of performing an external audit must involve as many managers and employees as possible. Employees run the organization no matter what level. This means their strength, commitment, and dedication and their emotional connection with the organization can be judged as assets in monetary value. To perform an external audit, a company must first gather competitive intelligence and information about social, cultural, demographic, environmental, economic, political, legal, governmental, and technological trends. Individuals may be required to keep monitoring a variety of information sources, such as key magazines, trade journals, newspapers, the internet, suppliers, distributors, salespersons, customers, and competitors. Once information is gathered, it should be assimilated, evaluated, and prioritized. Key external factors should be important to achieving long-term and annual objectives, measurable, applicable to all competing firms, and hierarchical in the sense that some will pertain to the overall company while others will be narrowly focused. The Industrial Organization (IO) view. External factors versus internal factors. External factors are more important than internal factors. Change in external forces gives a great impact on the achievement of one organization. It affects the business, its operations, profits, and so on. A company is a business that constantly interacts with other units in its environment, such as the suppliers, sellers, investors, employees, customers, the government, the rivals, and the general public. Strategically managed from the IO perspective. IO perspective, or industrial organization perspective, is a field in economics. It studies the structure of firms and the markets where firms compete against one another. Understanding this concept is vital for firms in setting the right strategic direction to compete in an attractive industry, avoid weak and faltering industries, and gain full understanding of key external factor relationships. Factors affecting firm performance. Firm performance is primarily based on industry properties such as economies of scale, which is an advantage that can sometimes occur as a result of increasing the size of a business. For example, since the supermarkets buy goods in bulk, they avail discounts. Therefore, they enjoy the benefit of reduced average cost. In other words, it measures the amount of money that the business has to spend to produce each unit of output. Barriers to market entry. These are factors that can limit or prevent new firms from entering a market or industry. They can include high cost, government regulation, patent protection, customer loyalty, and the power of existing firms. Product differentiation. The key aspects that distinguish a company's products or services from the competition. Successful product differentiation leads to brand loyalty and increased sales. And lastly, the level of competitiveness. Global economic recession negative impact. Recent global economic recession, which is a period of economic decline that affects many interconnected economies around the world, brings negative impact on both strong and weak firms. Added acceptance to the notion that external forces are more important than internal.
Good day, my name is Jenny Casinian. I'm our next reporter. My topic is all about economic forces. Number one, economic factors have an indirect impact on the potential attractiveness of various strategies. For example, if internet rate rise, then funds needed for capital expansion become costlier or unavailable. Number two, the key economic variables that a firm should monitor should be studied. The list includes there are seven. Number one, shifts to a service economy, availability of credit. Number three, level of disposable income. Number four, propensity of people to spend. Number five, interest rates. Number six, inflation rate. Number seven, unemployment trends. Number three, trends in the dollar's value have significant and unequal effects on companies in different industry and in different locations. For example, the pharmaceutical, tourism, entertainment, motor vehicle, aerospace, and forest products industry benefits greatly when the dollar falls against the yen and euro. Agricultural and petroleum industry are hampered by the dollar's rise against the currencies of Mexico, Brazil, Venezuela, and Australia. Number four, the slumping economy worldwide and depressed prices of assets have dramatically slowed the migration of people from country to country and from the cities to the suburbs. For example, as a result, there is a tower demand for new or used homes, thus the housing market is expected to remain sluggish. Okay, my next topic is about social, cultural, demographic, and natural environment forces. Number one, social, cultural, demographic, and environment changes have a major impact on virtually all products, services, markets, and customers. Number two, the United States is getting older and less white. By 2075, the US will have no racial or ethnic majority. Number three, social, cultural, demographic, and environmental trends are shaping the way Americans live, work, produce, and consume. For example, new trends are creating a different types of consumer and consequently a need for different products, services, and strategies. For my topic, I hope you learned something. Thank you.
My name is Samantha Abusehot from THMD, and my topic is all about political, governmental, and legal policies. And political, governmental, and legal factors, therefore, can represent key opportunities or threats for small and large organizations. And federal, state, local, and foreign governments are major regulators. The regulators, subsidizers, employers, and customers of organizations. For industries and firms that depend heavily on government contracts or subsidies, political forecasts can be the most important part of an external audit. Second is the changes in patent laws, antitrust legislation, tax tax rates, and lobbying activities. It can affect firms significantly. Many countries worldwide are resorting to protectionism to safeguard their own industries. Many economists point out that the current trade constraints make it harder to replace the global recession with growth, and large retailers are pressuring the state governments to collect sales taxes like from example Amazon.com or in other online retailers. In a political debate, they are raging in the US concern sales taxes like on the internet. Also in American labor unions, the extent that a state is unionized can be a significant factor in strategic planning decisions related to manufacturing, plant location, and other matters. And huge declines of late in receipts of federal, state, and municipal governments has contributed to a sharp decline in the membership of public sector unions. Laws, regulatory agencies, and special interest groups can have a major impact on the strategies of small or large for-profit and non-profit organizations. In technology, in, techno- in technological forces, the internet has changed the nature of opportunities and threats by altering the life cycle of products, increasing the speed of distribution, creating new products and services, erasing limitations, and changing the historical trade-off between production, standardization, and flexibility. Historically, total internet retail sales the last 2 months of 2010 jumped 15.4% compared to 2009. To capitalize on information technology, a number of organizations established new positions, which is the Chief Information Officer (CIO) and Chief Technology Officer (CTO). In technological forces, they represent major opportunities and threats that must be considered in formulating strategies. First is that technological advancements can affect an organization's products, services, markets, suppliers, and other factors. Technology management also is one of the key responsibilities of strategies. Not all sectors of the economy are affected equally by forestry and metal industries. So, dili tanan sektor ng ekonomiya kuno is pantay-pantay or pantay-pantay na apektado sa mga industriya sa anang pangunguba ano kanang like pangungu panggugubat o sa mga metal na industries.
Hello everyone, I'm Gisa Losada from 3HMD. Now I will be going to present my report about competitive forces and competitive analysis. Competitive forces are the factors and variables that threaten a company profitability and prevent its growth. Letter E, as an important part of an external audit is identifying rival firms and determining their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, objectives, and strategies. Number 1 is collecting and evaluating information on competitors is essential for successful strategy formulation. Number 2 is addressing questions about competitors, such is important in performing an external audit. Number 3 is competition in virtually all industries can be described as essential, as intense, and sometimes cutthroat. Next, letter B is there are 7 concepts describe the most competitive companies. Number 1 is market shares. Market shares matter. Market shares is the percentage and an industry sells that a particular business owns. In other words, it is a comparison of a company total sales in relation to the overall sales of the industry they are in. Okay, number 2 is understand and remember precisely what business you are in. Of course, yes, of course. If we do business, we need to understand and remember what business we are going to enter. And number 3 is whether it's broke or not, fix it. So in company, we have to observe the equipment or other things to fix it even if it's not broke yet, so that it doesn't cause a lot of damage. So number 4 is innovate or evaporate. An innovation process instance systematic methods for each new idea or concept to truly be vetted and review, which provides consistency and save the organization time throughout the organization. New ideas for product and services will grow and not evaporate. So number 5 is acquisition is essential to growth. Acquisition is a prudent business strategy for companies looking for expand into new market or territories to fill a portfolio gap, gain or boost long-run competitive advantage, acquire new technologies and skills set, and to position the company more favorable when it comes to future exit option. Okay, number 4 is people make a difference. So people make difference between an average experience with an organization and a great one. People are the key to building strong relationship with your partner and customers. People are the key to building your brand and expanding into new markets. So number 7 is there is no substitute for quality. It is a fundamental value and way of life for a true professional. Next is letter C, competitive intelligence. Competitive intelligence programs. Number 1 is competitive intelligence as formally defined by the Society of Competitive Intelligence Professional is a systematic and ethical process of gathering and analyzing information about the competitions, activities, and general business trends to further business own goals. Number 2 is good competitive intelligence in business as in the military is one of the key to success. The more information and knowledge a firm can obtain about competitors, the more likely it can the more likely it can formulate and implement effective strategies. Number 3 is 3 strong misconceptions about business intelligence prevail among you is executive today. A is running an intelligence program require lots of people, computers, and other resources. B. Collecting intelligence about competitors violates at antitrust laws. Business intelligence equal espionage. Letter C is intelligence gathering is an unethical business practice. Number 4 is the internet has become an excellent medium for gathering competitive intelligence. Number 5 is firms need to effective competitive intelligence program. The 3 basic objectives of a competitive intelligence program are: number 1 is to provide a general understanding of an industry and its competitors. Number two is to identify areas in which competitors are vulnerable and to assess the impact strategic actions would have on competitors. And number 3 is to identify potential moves that a competitors might make that would endanger a firm's position in the market. So number 6 is competitive information is equal applicable for strategy formulation, implementation, and evaluation decisions. Number 7 is the increasing emphasis on competitive analysis in the United States in evidence by corporation putting this function on their organization charts under job titles such as Director of Competitive Analysis. Number 8 is unethical tactics such as bribery, war tipping, and computer break-ins should never be used to obtain information. So letter D is market commonality and resource similarities. Number 1 is competitors are firms that offer similar products in the same market. Number 2 is market can be geographic, products, areas, or segments. Number 3, market commonality can be defined as the number and significance of markets that a firm competes in with rivals. So number 4 is resource similarities is the extent to which the type and amount of a firm's internal resources are comparable to a rival. Topic number 8 is competitive analysis, quarter 5 model. Competitive analysis should examine your competitors' futures, market shares, pricing, marketing differentiators, strengths, weaknesses, geography, culture, and customer review. So letter A is Foster 5 versus model. Number 1, Foster 5 versus model of competitive analysis is a widely used approach for developing strategies in many industries. The intensity of competition among firms varies widely from industry to industry. Number 2 is according to Porter, the nature of competitiveness is a given industry can be viewed as a composite of 5 forces. So first is rivalry among competitive firms. Second is potential entry of new competitions. Third is potential development of substitute products. Fourth is bargaining power of supplier. The last is bargaining power of consumer. Number 3 is these 3 steps can reveal whether competition is in a given industry is such that a firm can make a acceptable profit. First is identifying key aspects or elements of each competitive force that impact the firm. Second is evaluate how strong and important each element is for the firm. The last is decide whether the collective strength of the elements is worth the firm entering or staying in the industry. Number 4, this is the first in 5 forces. Rivalry among competing firms. A. Usually the most powerful of a 5 competitive forces. B. The strategies pursued by one firm can be successful only to the extent that they provide competitive advantage over the strategies pursued by rival firms. C. The internet coupled with a common currency in Europe enable customers to make price comparisons easily across countries. The last is the intensity of rivalry among competing firms tends to increase as the number of competitors increase. So, rivalry among competing firms is a measure of the extent of competition among existing firm. Intense rivalry can limit profit and lead to competitive moves, including price cutting, increased advertising expenditures, or spending on service product improvement and innovation. So, number 5 is potential entry of new competitors. Letter A. Whenever new firms can easily enter a particular industry, the intensity of competitiveness among firms increases. B is despite numerous barriers to enter, new firms sometimes enter industries with higher quality products, lower prices, and substantial marketing resource. So, new competitors can easily enter your market when there are low enter cost, few economies of scales, no knowledge, intensity, and little protection of key technologies. So number 6 is potential development of substitute product. A. In many industries, firms are in close competition with producer of substitute product in other industries. B is competitive pressures arising from substitute products increase as the relative price of substitute products declines and the customers switch cost decrease. So the availability of close substitute product can make an industry more competitive and decrease profit potential for the firms in the industry. So number 7 is bargaining power of suppliers. The bargaining power of suppliers affect the intensity of competitions in an industry, especially when there are a large number of suppliers, when there are only a few goods substitute raw materials, or when the cost of switching raw materials is especially high. B. Firms may pursue a backward integration strategy to gain control or ownership of supplier. However, in many industries, it is more economical to use outside supplier of components part than to self-manufacture items. So letter C is in more and more industries, sellers are forging strategic partnership with select supplier to number 1 is reduce inventory and logistic cost. Number 2 is speed the availability of next generation components. Number 3 is enhance the quality of the part and components being supplied and reduce defect rates and Number 4, squeeze out important cost saving. So the bargaining power of supplier is their ability to sell their products and the prices and terms that are favorable to them. So number 8 is bargaining power of consumers. When customers are concentrated, are large or buy in volume, their bargaining power represents a major force affecting intensity of competition in an industry. B. In particular, consumers gain increased bargaining power under the following circumstances. So first is if they can inexpensively switch to competing brands or substitutes. Next is if they are particularly important to the seller. Next, if seller are struggling in the face of filling consumer demand. If they are well informed about sellers, products, prices, and cost. The last is if they have discretion in whether and when they purchase the product. So, the bargaining power of consumer is the concept that customer can apply pressure to vendors in order to lower product prices, increase product quality, or product better customer care.
Good day everyone, I'm Anidel Nunez. So my topic, it's all about source of external information and forecasting tools and techniques. So in source of external information, they have three sources of source of external information. Number one is a wealth of information is available to organization from both published and unpublished source. So unpublished source includes customer surveys, market research, speeches at professional and shareholders, meetings, television program, interviews, and conversation with stakeholder. So unpublished source is all about a research or a survey to gather personal information. Next is published source of strategic information. It includes periodicals, journal, reports, government documents, abstracts, books, directories, newspaper, and manual. So the published source is a source or by own author. Number two is websites for gathering strategic information. So website for gathering strategic information is an source through this kind of links. Number three is Standard and Poor's or S&P. Industry survey include the following section of information. So in Standard and Poor's, they have nine following section of information. Number one is current environment. Number two, industry trends. Number three, how the industry operates. Number four, key industry reaches and statistics. Number five, how to analyze a company. Number six, glossary of industry terms. Number 7, additional industry information. Number 8, reference. And number 9, comparative company financial analysis. So those are the following section of information. Forecasting tools and techniques. Forecast is a attempt to predict future's outcomes based on past event and management insight. So number 1, forecasts are educated assumption about future trends and events. Number 2, forecasting is a complex activity due to factors such as technological innovation, cultural change, new products, improved service, stronger competitors, shifts in government's priorities, changing social values, and stable economic condition and unforeseen event. Number 3, forecasting tools can be broadly categorized into two groups. So number 1 is quantitative techniques and number 2, qualitative techniques. So quantitative techniques is the study really on numerical or measurable data, while qualitative techniques studies really on personal accounts or document that details how people think or respond within society. Quantitative forecasts are most appropriate when historic data are available and when the relationships among key variables are expected to remain the same in the future. For example, is based on the assumption that the future will be just like past. Accurate forecast can provide major competitive advantage for organization. However, no forecast is perfect and some are widely inaccurate. Number 3, forecasting tools can be broadly categorized into two groups. So number 1 is quantitative techniques and number 2, qualitative techniques. So quantitative techniques is the study really on numerical or measurable data, while qualitative techniques studies really on personal accounts or document that details how people think or respond within society. Quantitative forecasts are most appropriate when historic data are available and when the relationships among key variables are expected to remain the same in the future. For example, is based on the assumption that the future will be just like past. Accurate forecast can provide major competitive advantage for organization. However, no forecast is perfect and some are widely inaccurate. B. Making assumption. If you make an assumption that something is true or will happen, you accept that it is true or will happen after without any real proof. Number 1, by identifying future occurrence that could have a major effect on the firm and making reasonable assumption about those factors, strategic can carry the strategic management process forwards. Number 2, assumptions are needed only for future trends and events that are most likely to have a significant effect on the company's business. Number 3, firms that have the best information generally make the most accurate assumptions, which can lead to major competitive advantage.
Industry analysis, the external factors evaluation metrics. External factors evaluation matrix is a strategic analysis tool used to evaluate firms' external environment and to reveal its strengths as well as weaknesses. External factors evaluation matrix is a strategic tool used to examine companies' external environment and to identify the available opportunities and threats. This is the example of threats and opportunities, critical success factors. We have rating scores with an EFA matrix allows strategies summarize and evaluate economic, social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, governmental, legal, technological, and competitive information. The process of performing an external audit. The process of performing external audit. To perform an external audit, a company first must gather competitive
intelligence and information about economic, social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, governmental, legal, and technological trends. Second, individuals can be asked to monitor various sources of information such as key magazines, trade journals, and newspaper. This person can submit periodic scanning reports to committee of managers charged with performing an external audit. Then, the process of performing an external audit must involve as many managers and employee as possible. Its involvement in the strategic management process can lead to understand and commitment from organizational members. Individuals appreciate having the opportunity to contribute ideas and to gain a better understanding of their firm's industry competitors and markets. External forces change. The external forces translate into change in consumer demand for both industrial and consumer products and services. External forces affect the type of product developed, the nature of positioning and market segmentation strategies, the type of services offered, and the choice of businesses to acquire or sell. External forces directly affect both suppliers and distributors. Identifying and evaluating external opportunities and threats enables organizations to develop a clear mission, to design strategies to achieve long-term objectives, and to develop policies to achieve annual objectives. Key external forces, we have economic forces, social, cultural, demographic, and natural environment forces. Third, political, governmental, and legal forces. Fourth, technological forces. And fifth, competitive forces. The nature of external audit. The purpose of external audit is to develop and finite list of opportunities that could benefit a firm and threats that should be avoided. As the term finite suggests, the external audit is not aimed to developing an exhaustive list of every possible factors that could influence the businesses. Rather, it is aimed to identifying key variables that offer actionable responses. Third, firms should be able to respond either offensively or defensively to the factors by formulating strategies that takes advantage and take external opportunities or that minimize the impact of potential threats. Then, the internet provide another source for gathering strategies information as though corporate, university, and public libraries. Next, suppliers and distributors, salespersons, customers, and competitors represent or other sources and vital information. The economic forces increase the number of two-income households is an economic trend in the United States. Individual place and premium on time. Third, improve customer service immediately and availability, trouble-free operation of product, and dependable maintenance and repair services are becoming more important. People today are more willing than ever to pay for good services if it's limit inconvenience. Economic factors have a direct impact on the potential attractiveness of various strategies. Social, cultural, demographic, and natural environmental forces. Social, cultural, demographic, and environmental change have a major impact on the virtually all products, services, markets, and customers. Small, large, for-profit, and non-profit organizations in all industry are being staggered and challenged by the opportunities and threats arising from changes in social, cultural, demographic, and environmental variables. The population of the world surpassed 7.0 million in 2010. Social, cultural, demographic, and environmental trends are shaping by the way people live, work, produce, and consume. New trends are creating a different type of consumers and consequently a needs for different products, different services, and different strategies. Political, governmental, and legal forces. The increase of global interdependence among economics, markets, government, and organization makes it imperative that firms consider the possible impact of political variables on the formulation and implementation of competitive strategies. Technological forces. Revolutionary technological changes and discoveries are having a dramatic impact on organization. The internet has changed the every nature of opportunities and threats by the altering the life cycles of products, increasing the speed of distribution, creating new products and services, erasing limitation of traditional geographic markets, and changing the historical trade-off between production, standardization, and flexibility. The internet is altering economic of skills, changing entries barriers, and redefining the relationship between industry and various suppliers, creditors, customers, and competitors. Competitive forces. An important part of external audit is to identifying rival firms and determining their strengths, weaknesses, capability, opportunities, threats, objectives, and strategies. Collecting and evaluating information on the competitors is essential for the successful strategies formulation. Identifying major competitors is not always easy because many firms have divisions that compete in different industries. The competitive profile metrics identify a firm's major competitors and its particular strengths and weaknesses in relation to a simple firm's strategic position. The weight and total weighted scores in both CPM and EFA have the same meaning. Gaining and sustaining competitive advantage is the overriding purpose of developing the opportunity traits list value exchange, EFEM, and CPM. Thank you.